Excuse me. What in the world are you thinking?
Mean Gene, the first thing you need to do is to tell these people to shut up if you want to hear what I gotta say.
What up, y'all? It's KMB, the Sexy Ninja, in the place to be for the Paper Saber Universe, and this is the New World Podcast, brother. Who killed WCW? The finale, the Final Nitro, as this episode's called. Dropped June 25th, 2024. Fun ride down memory lane, you know. And I gotta say, like, it was really cool sharing this experience of watching this with my wife and her asking me questions, being like, "Whoa, is this really?" I was like, "Yeah." I go, the Final Nitro was crazy. I remember watching the Final Nitro, going back and forth between TVs, and it was like, you know, it was insane what happened. And with the AOL merger, you know, and everybody kind of just getting pushed and shoved, and Turner just being pushed into a corner, being like, "You stay there. You stay there. No one likes this wrestling shit. We don't," you know, new bosses coming up, and like, "Yeah, we got to stop this." And Eric finding a buyer and, you know, having this new pay-per-view called The Big Bang. And, you know, it became like the what if that actually happened. You know, that's in, it was supposed to be like May 6th or something like that. You know, they got a new home, new TV, and as they're selling it to this other company, they're like, "Hey, we got, you know, Turner's going to let us go. We fill that slot. We got to fill it with sponsors and this and that, but that's our TV time when you buy WCW." And they're like, "Oh, okay." And, you know, plus two, you got all this content. And at the time, too, you know, it's like, yeah, you got all that content, but there really wasn't anybody that was like, "Oh, my God, that library's huge. Like, you got everything from here to there," you know. And at the time, there's no streaming. You can put out VHS. You can put out collections and stuff like that. But I think that company was like, "No, we want the TV time, and if we can make this work, we'll make it work, and we'll, you know, refuel and restart WCW to be in his new glory days." Nope. Turner's like, "Fuck that. We're done." Final Nitro. This is it. March 26, 2001. You know, they got Sting. They got Flair. And my problem with this documentary is, like, everyone's like, "Oh, he did it. Not me. It's you. You know, the Spider-Man meme. Like, "Oh, who's pointing at who?" And I really wish we had a Ric Flair on here. I really wish we had Hogan. I really wish we had Sting. And I was telling my wife, I was like, "Man, Flair had some of the worst times in WCW. He fucking hated Eric, what Eric did to him." And, you know, Eric Bischoff and him, they had a rocky relationship. But I was just like, if we can really get grimy and gritty with this documentary, we should bring those guys in. And not the other guys being like, no, it wasn't me, it was him, you know. So we get to the last Nitro, and I remember Vince opening up the show, and I was like, what the fuck? I got WCW in the palm of my hands, because I'm Vince McMahon, and they bought WCW for some $4 million plus change. That's insane. All that content, all that whole library. Even a Jericho at the time was like, dude, for what they bought WCW for, you know, he said, I could have got a couple friends together. We could have all pitched in the money and bought that, you know. Now it's owned by TKO, all of it. And you look at that massive library, a history of the WCW, you know, it's insane. And Vince now owns it. And, you know, and all this. And then we get into this silly stuff after this last Nitro of the whole, you know, invasion angle. Shane McMahon comes out and he's like, "Dad, I own WCW," you know. And it was like, what? And at the time as a kid, I was like, what's going on? You know. And Booker, the championship, you know, all this stuff going on. And at the end of the day, the WWF at the time, now WWE, stuck its flag and they own WCW. Final Nitro, they go out with the, you know, basically with the hoorah. And then in this show too, with Sting and Rick. And stories I remember reading and him talking, he said he felt so like body shamed, like out of shape. That's why he wears a t-shirt in that match with Sting. He didn't feel up to par with who he is. And now we're talking about Ric fucking Flair. Woo! You know? We're talking about a guy that's felt ashamed to show off his body because he felt like it wasn't on par with what it should be. And that's because of all the shit he dealt with in WCW. You know, you should check out that book, To Be the Man. And, you know, how much of it is true, how much of it is not true, but it's all interesting facts here, man. And hearing Ric Flair and all the documentaries and stuff like that, that's what I was like, oh, we needed Rick in this. Rick would have been great. Him and Eric across from each other, like, dude, I fucking hated you. But yeah, then, like, of course, WCW goes on, you know, how did they do it? And I remember that stupid fucking red logo of WCW they had. And then and Eric becomes a GM for Vince. He works for Vince, and everyone's like, oh, conspiracy, you know. He killed WCW within, you know, with Vince Russo. Then Vince Russo went off to go to TNA, and TNA was born. And Vince Russo was there for like 10 years. I didn't know that. Vince Russo was with TNA for 10 years. Eric goes to TNA, and then Hulk Hogan goes to TNA. Ric Flair goes to TNA. So this ongoing TNA was the next revolution, but nope. TNA is doing fine now. They're producing some great content. I got TNA Plus, so go check that out. But overall, this whole series, it was fun. It was just a big trip down memory lane. But if you want to get into the grimy gritty, go find those old documentaries. Go watch all the death of WCW. You know, go watch all those videos. Go check out the book by Guy Evans. There's some really interesting stuff in there. Go read books too of that era from Ric Flair. You know how he dealt with it. Hulk Hogan's book's probably bullshit, but it's from some fun stories in there that I remember reading. So a lot of stuff goes into what killed WCW, and I just think it was an overall team effort of like, let's just mutilate this place one piece by piece, and it's over. So that's it. That's all. Who Killed WCW? The Final Nitro, June 25th, 2024. And of course, The Rock's there. The Rock's just there. So go check out the episode. Tell me what you thought of the series. Has it made you interested? Are you a new wrestling fan? Are you discovering all this as well, just like my wife? Well, have fun. Now go dig. Now go dig through the history. Go dig through the library at Peacock for WWE. Damn, I missed the network. But still, go dig, you know? And with the network, too, thinking about it, how Vince owns all this content, all for the network and everything like that. Insane. So, all right, y'all. That's it. That's all. Tell me what you thought of the show. Tell me what you thought of the series overall. And like and subscribe. Share with your grandma. Share with your grandma. Share with the bum down at Walmart. Go to ProWrestlingTees.com/New World Podcast. Get yourself that sweet nWp logo created by Penta X. And remember that the New World Podcast is for life, brother.
Last Nitro on the Turner Networks, and we're going out with a bang.
How do we all feel on this very surreal day for all of us in World Championship Wrestling?